Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Surrounded by Details podcast with me. I'm Steve-O. I am your host. And as I just mentioned, you are listening to the SBD, aka Surrounded by Details podcast. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being there for me. And give me your opinion. Whatever you think, whatever you want to write. If you want to be a cunt, then be a cunt. Leave us a bad comment. You can also be a very nice person and leave us a good comment. Share some love, spread some love. We have a live chat section in the on the right side of the live chat. And of course, before I start, as always, I have to find my buttons because I'm sitting here in the dark listening to some amazing music and I'm hyped. I am motivated for this podcast because I get to talk to my buddy Anthony Floyd Brady. But before I start, of course, first of all, the Dreamcatcher Bangkok hostel, Dreamcatcher Bar, Cafe and Hostel in Bangkok. Thank you so much for supporting. And I also want to give a special shout out to Spring 4C, my friends from Bangkok, France, Germany, wherever they're from, wherever they are. Nobody really knows. They have been touring in the States. They have been touring in the beautiful city of London, as far as I know. And I want to give them some attention because you can order the Seedless Fruit vinyl 12-inch and CD from musicglue.com/spring4c. Make sure to support the guys, two young fellers full with weird tattoos and just in general amazing human beings. Make sure to give them a like, a support, and order your vinyl, not a CD. I mean, who the hell listens to CDs? Are there people who collect CDs? Because I only know people who select vinyl. With that being said, Anthony Floyd Brady is gonna join me. Sorry, I'm so hyped. I'm so motivated. I need to slow down a little bit. I'm back from Shanghai. I was there for one championship, but I'm gonna try not to talk too much MMA because yesterday I did a recording with the Small Talk podcast by TJ McKenzie. So make sure to check that one out as well when it gets dropped later this week on his channel on YouTube. So there's a few subjects I would like to discuss with Anthony Floyd Brady, and why not bringing him in? A question to you, my dear audience. I always make my intro and then I call up my guest. It feels a little bit weird sometimes, so let me know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. Maybe I should do it after. Maybe I should do it before. Who knows? However, here we go. Give him a call. He just finished school at 6 o'clock, I believe. 7 o'clock. So he should be good to go. There is the signal. It's calling. Is he on the toilet?
Hey, buddy.
No, he is not on the toilet. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm just sitting here on the toilet.
You do?
No, I'm not.
We actually had guests taking a crap while we had them on the podcast. So, wouldn't have surprised me.
Well, I'm not that guy. Not yet.
Not yet, but we are gonna record for, I don't know, hours, days, months, years. So maybe in between we get to hear you while you are on the toilet. What a weird opening, man. I'm so sorry. I'm hyped for this podcast. Where are you at the moment?
I am currently in my apartment right now. It's right in the middle of downtown Konkan.
Konkan, beautiful city up north. And for the people who have been listening to the podcast before, you are a teacher, a musician. Explain a little bit what you do before we get straight into it, just to recap a little bit for the new audience.
Okay. So I live in Northeast Thailand, and I am the head of the English program for a local private school, as well as own my own English company, Little Language Center. And I also play music in a rock metal bands here in town.
Do you play rock metal while you teach, or is that something that you do on the side?
Well, I teach preschool and kindergarten, so I think that music would scare the crap out of these kids. So I try. So definitely, I definitely do.
It would be funny though if you just have a bunch of metal kids at the age of, I don't know, how old are you when you go preschool?
My students are between 3 and 5.
Do they have long enough hair to be a proper metal listener, or?
The girls definitely do.
What a weird subject, my friend. Yeah, man, I don't even know where to start. How have you been? Long time no speak. The last time we had you on the podcast, we did a phone companion. That was quite entertaining. And we haven't done it ever since, unfortunately.
Yeah, we should do that again for the smaller fights. It's hard for me to enjoy the fights without the commentary, so I think that's most of the problem.
Are you saying you don't enjoy my commentary?
I 100% do, but I feel like I'm missing out by hearing the other commentary. And it's really hard to pay attention to the fights and have a conversation at the same time.
That is so true, man. I was actually trying to do a phone companion with myself during the McGregor and Mayweather fight, and I realized how little I actually watch the fights because you're just so focused on talking and following a conversation that you miss out on that. Where did you watch that fight, by the way?
I watched it at a local bar here in town. It was cool.
Yeah, what did you think of the fight?
I mean, I thought a lot more about the fight than everybody else. I give it up for anybody that has the balls to step into somebody else's comfort zone, and I think he did pretty damn well. Even though everybody says that Mayweather let him win those rounds, he still was the only person in the past 10 years to make a Mayweather fight worth watching.
Yeah, but no matter what people say, I believe Mayweather doesn't want to get hit no matter what. So I think he did pretty well. But I also think that Mayweather is a smart guy. And as you said, it takes a lot of balls to go into a field where somebody's 49-0 and you have a 0-0 record. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why you got to give it up to him. That's why I can't stand all the haters out there talking shit. Meanwhile, they're not doing anything with their lives. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
think 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. 4 years ago, the dude was on welfare. I mean, and now he fought a $100 million fight. You got to respect that.
Yeah, no matter how he got there. And of course, he got there by winning, not only by talking, but the talking, of course, helped a lot. And I know for a fact that everybody was a winner on that fight because they got paid, people enjoyed it, and it broke the pay-per-view record. The rumor is 6.5 million pay-per-view sales.
That's what I read, yeah.
That is fucking crazy.
It's insane, isn't it? I don't think there will ever be another one of those size fights in the world ever again.
Well, they said that after the Pacquiao fight, but they are still 3 million pay-per-view buys under the Surrounded by Details podcast, so they have some work to do.
Perfect.
I know for a fact also that you got a little bit obsessed there with the Snoop Doggy Dogg and other things. Would you like to tell us your feelings about that?
Oh, I think, it started with Snoop being on that stupid... the Tuesday Night Contender Series, which is actually a really good show to watch. It's like watching The Ultimate Fighter without all the drama and all the bullshit. So it's pretty awesome. But then they have the Snoop cast, and he's one of those guys that just needs to stick with what he does best and not commentate on MMA. He's honestly the most annoying commentator I've ever heard in my life. And then the shit that he went on to say about McGregor afterwards was completely disrespectful. And yeah.
When was the last time Snoop Dogg published a record or a song?
Well, he did his Snoop Lion stuff, and it's all pop nonsense. I've tried to like it, and to be honest, it's all the same shit. It's reggae stuff, which is, it's a nice vibe, but there's nothing new and original about it.
Yeah. So maybe he just needed a little bit publicity and just came out with that. Who knows?
I think he just needs to keep making music. He's doing good with music, and people like it. I'm not a fan of it. I like his old stuff. That was intense stuff, but I'm not a fan of his new Snoop Lion stuff. And I'm definitely not a fan of him anymore after hearing him open his mouth on MMA.
I feel so much hate from your side, but you are nothing else than a loving person, even if you look very angry most of the time.
No hate, he just lost a fan, that's all. I'm just disappointed. Somebody that works for the MMA should not talk about one of their biggest fighters like that in public. It's totally disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm wondering what the UFC says to that, because after all, he works for the UFC, and then you talk so much shit about the UFC. I wonder what's going to happen there. Is he going to keep a Snoopcast? Is he not going to keep a Snoopcast? Who knows?
Who knows? I think that there's enough people that like him that it might be able to continue, but I don't see he just doesn't make sense in there at all. That was just a way to get different hits.
I listened to it actually shortly, and I think it was quite funny because, as you said, it's something completely different. He's not used to commentate MMA, and at some points it was just a very funny reaction to what actually happened in the cage. So I can't really judge that. I need to listen a little bit more, but on the other hand, I don't want to spend 24/7 of the day with MMA.
Yeah. I've watched him. I've watched almost every episode of the Contender Series with him doing the commentary because I wanted to check it out. And it some of it's funny, maybe 5% of it. The rest of it's just, it gets annoying after a while. Because he just kind of he just goes on his own little tangents that have nothing to do with the fights at all. But I can see why people like it. I just personally I think I take MMA a little too seriously. I enjoy it. It's kind of too much of a passion to watch, and I don't want any kind of ridiculous distractions like that involved in it.
Yeah, you are deep shit into MMA. That's maybe why you take it so personal, man. You gotta let it go. No,
I don't take it too personally. I'm not a fighter or anything, but there's a lot of people against fighting. They think it's, because it's violent. There's nothing. They don't see the good in it, which it really does so many good things for so many people. And I feel the same way about stand-up comedy. There's not enough respect given out to these people that are working so hard to get to this place. And once they get to this place, there's always people with opinions that have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah, but we talked about this before, and actually talk about this quite a lot on the podcast. But there's just something that makes people want to hate more on other people than actually spreading love. I don't know what it is. Is it jealousy, or is it self-depression that they don't make it in their life or make anything out of their life? Why do you think is it easier for people to hate on others than actually giving a few good words?
Well, I just think the internet has given everybody an opinion, and I think that's not necessarily a good thing. I used to be friends with a lot of people. Back in the day, you could be friends with anybody and not know their political choices, and you never have to worry about that side of them, and you could just get along with them. Now you can't avoid it, so
That's
it
true.
feels like everybody's got opinion on everything, and it kind of causes you to separate from anything or anybody that you don't agree with.
Yeah,
and that's kind of
with the internet, everybody has an opinion nowadays. I was actually watching Ghost in a Shell yesterday evening. Fell asleep, so I had to rewatch a little bit this morning before I started working. But something that I paid attention to in that movie is they had some fights going on and they got injured or whatever, and they actually said when their companion came into the room and was saving them from the evil world, they said, say something nice. I don't know, that just got stuck in my head that some movie actually did this. I really enjoyed that.
That's great.
Instead of doing something cliche. But talking MMA, we're going to talk about more things, of course, than MMA. But I got to ask you, because we talked the last time for the Holy Home fight, and that was in Singapore, which... that was quite a disappointment. But a week after that, or 2 weeks after that, there was another fight announced, and that fell through. I'm talking Amanda Nunes versus Shevchenko, now co-main event of the UFC 215 on Saturday, September 9th. Well, here in Asia, we're going to see the fight happening on Sunday early in the morning. How excited are you from a scale 1 to 10?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 9.5 for this fight.
What?
These are about two of the best female fighters in the world. This is a fantastic fight.
I'm about a 15.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was saying low. Saying 10 would be the ultimate fight, which I have not seen yet. But yeah, I mean, it's a exciting matchup.
I kind of see this as the main event, actually, because let's be honest, Johnson versus Borg, how exciting is this, even with the record that Demetrius Johnson has on the line here to have the most title defenses in history. He's even right now with Anderson Silva, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like I said, though, I still don't see that Mighty Mouse being the pound-for-pound greatest. I just don't, his competition's nowhere near what it was for Silva.
Well, that pound-for-pound word or sentence brings me right into a subject that I wanted to talk to you about anyway, because if you say pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, there is one name that is up there. We talk about John, go fuck yourself, Jones. I don't know. I'm still hurt. It feels like you breaking up a relationship, but you can't really let go. You hate it, but you still have some love inside of you, and this is exactly how I feel for John Jones. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
You've heard the newest news, right?
What?
He's probably going to get away with it.
Why?
Well, it turns out, I'm not exactly sure the details of it, but something to do with the mix of blood and urine tests. Like, he did fail something.
Okay. We talked about, sorry to interrupt you here, but before you mix it all up, because we talked about this yesterday, I was honored to be a guest on the Small Talk podcast with a fighter, or done by the fighter, TJ McKenzie, good guy. I had him on the podcast as well. And another Anthony, actually. I was thinking of you when I heard there was another Anthony on the board. However, we were talking about this. He failed the blood test. No, he passed the blood test, but he failed the urine test.
Urine test, yeah.
Yes. And just to make this short to our audience, with my little 50% knowledge that I have, the urine test is actually the more important one, because that is where the shit gets stuck, where the body wants to get rid of the shit that you put in yourself. So
exactly.
The blood test doesn't really give him any chance to get away with it. But it's weird that he has this on the weigh-ins, and then the blood test on fight night was actually negative. So he passed the blood test the day after. It's weird. However, as people say, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the saying, but no smoke without a fire.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And John Jones is absolutely a forest fire.
Yeah.
But, he's the best in the world, and he's going to continue to prove that, because he can get away with murder, basically. So he'll continue to cheat. I think he's a cheater. I think that's just the kind of person that he is. I don't think he's a good person.
That is a good point there, because it kind of questions everything that he has done until this point. Like, Chael Sonnen said it, he believed John Jones was on steroids, and Chael Sonnen is kind of an expert in steroids. So
John Jones hid underneath a UFC mat while USADA was waiting for him for 8 hours.
Yeah, that kind of shows that you have something to hide, because you have better things to do than hiding under a UFC cage. But I think the conversation, if he is the best fighter of all time, the pound-for-pound best fighter, starts to become, is he the pound-for-pound best cheater of all time?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's hard to, until he gets caught. And even then, like, I've been listening to so many podcasts about this, and even if he did get caught and he was kicked out for 4 years, John Jones ruined DC's career no matter what.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing DC can do to come back from all the bullshit that John Jones has put him through. Even if Jones fails, DC gets the belt, everybody's going to say it's not your belt. You didn't deserve that because of all those haters out there.
That's true. I have a scenario, though, how DC can retain the reputation and actually come over this. Now,
do tell.
Let's imagine that they meet somewhere on the streets, just randomly, and somebody happens to have a phone and they start arguing, and then as it escalates and they have a street fight and somebody films it with a phone and put it out on the YouTube, on the World Wide Web, and we see DC destroying John Jones in a raw street fight with every rule allowed, head kicks, headbutts, whatever you want.
Well, I mean, the thing is John Jones kicked DC in the head and shook him, and that's steroid or no steroid, that's a John Jones kick. So I mean, I feel like Jones is still the better fighter. He's just not a respectable fighter.
Yeah, he's not a true champ, because you need to be more than just a good fighter to be a real good champ. And I think DC did it very well. He was a good example for the people how to be a champ. The only problem that he had was that he was too perfect, and he started to rub it in other people's face. Exactly.
Yeah, he got too. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like DC's just always will be underrated because of Jones, and DC is an Olympic medalist and an unbeaten champ outside of Jones, and he's just, and I think he started getting more love after that loss when he started crying on TV. I think he got a little bit more love from people, which is good to see. But I mean, that's a rough. It's like he's the bad guy that never wanted to be the bad guy.
Now here's a subject change for you. When was the last time you cried?
Jesus, I don't even remember. Oh man, I lost my dog.
That was recently. Tell me about that. That was in Thailand, right?
Not recently. Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah,
but I had him.
How old are you?
Had him for. How old am I?
Yeah.
37.
Yeah, so 1.5 of 37. That's recently to me.
Yeah, recently for sure.
I'm
I was
joking.
I was a grown man crying.
Yeah, but there's no shame in it. But what exactly happened? How did you lose your dog?
Well, I had him for about 2 years here. I got him in Thailand as a puppy, his little pit bull,
Mm.
and we did everything together. Spent every waking moment together, and then I ended up moving from Khon Kaen to a place in near the Cambodian border
Aranya
named Aranya
Prayet.
Patet.
Yeah.
Aranya Patet, yeah. And I was there for about a month, didn't like it, decided to move back. And I moved back with my dog. We got a new place. And I left my dog in the yard. It was a gated yard. And I went with my friend to go get my motorcycle from my other friend's house. And I was back in an hour. And my dog was in heat. And he jumped over the fence. And he tried to find me. And then he got lost because it was a new house. And he was gone.
Fuck, that sucks, man.
Yeah, it was devastating. But we got some good memories. So that I hold on to those dearly.
Mm. You wonder how that happens though, because animals always seem to have that extra sense that they find home no matter how long they are gone. I had this with my cats when I was a teenager, when I was younger. My family always had cats, and sometimes they were gone for several days, but they always found back, they always come back. But
sure,
yeah, it's different.
But this dog had only been at this house for less than 45 minutes. That was a brand new house. He'd never been there before. He had no idea where he was at all. And it's a pretty big village, so every turn he took, he could have gotten more and more lost.
Yeah. Maybe you encounter him some point in the future.
I think about it a lot. I do. I think about randomly having those that 2 year, hey, there you are.
Mm-hmm. Have you decided to get a new dog since, or do you say, no, I still give it another 2 years?
I was really close to that dog. I don't really feel like I can replace him right now, and I want to focus more on my music.
Yeah, but it's tough, man. How would you replace it? In general, you cannot replace a dog or a pet in general because you get so close to your pets. But I don't know. Where's the point when you just get a new one? A new one sounds so bitchy, but you know what I mean, right?
Well, I definitely would like a new one. I just right now I'm not at the time of my life where I just don't want to put the time into getting a new dog. You know, a puppy takes a lot of your time. You have to clean up a lot of shit. You got to deal with barking, and it's just a lot of work. So I don't want to do that again until I get a little bit more settled and figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, a dog or a baby, that's pretty much the same thing.
Yes, yeah, sort of, except you don't have to put your dog through college.
Dog college. Maybe teach your dog how to use the toilet, because there's YouTube videos out there, plenty of them, how cats and dogs actually use the toilet. That's amazing to me.
Absolutely. It's possible.
Yeah. But why are you so busy at the moment? What are you up to? I know you're teaching, of course. How much do you teach? Do you do that all week long or just over the weekends? Tell me about your teaching life.
Well, I teach about 10 to 15 hours a week, not very many at all. But I do a lot of planning for lesson plans, and I'm in the middle of moving house to house again. Always am. Every time I talk to you, I think I'm in the middle of moving. Yeah, you were a busy man. What happened to your old apartment? Just didn't work. Well, I went from apartment to a house, and that didn't work out. Now I'm back into another apartment in the city. So me and you and I are going to go to an island, and then once I get back from that holiday, I'm going to start settling in more after that. Yeah, boy, we will. That is for sure. You have a little holiday coming up at the same time as I have a little bit space, because I've been very busy lately. I've been in Macau, then I had a week in Bangkok, then I went to Kuala Lumpur, then I came back, had a week in Bangkok, and then I went to Shanghai. And now I'm back from Shanghai for a week, and then most likely on to Jakarta. And then it's my birthday. And my birthday present is gonna be to just fuck everything and go on an island to one of my favorite places, actually, here in Thailand. No, I'm excited for it, man. This is something I need. I have not been on a real holiday in my entire life. Yeah, you're gonna bring your guitar? What's in your bag, my friend? Absolutely. Tell me. That's the whole point. I gotta bring my guitar. I want to write some more music. I tend to write all my music when I'm in nature and at peace, and that's where I'm gonna make it happen. You sound like a hippie, but totally understandable. It's true. I'm a little bit of a hippie, but mostly a hippie hater. Yeah, so where we are going, I told you, it's not so well-known island. For the people who have been following my work, they know that I wrote an article about this island, I think a year and a half back, maybe even longer. However,
I'm not going to mentioning the name because we want to keep it mystical.
On the down low.
On the down low. Keep it on the down low. But there is no electricity before 6. So there's only after 6 p.m. you have electricity. Some places, only a few have electricity all day long. So with that in mind, what are you going to put in your bag except for your guitar? You big reader, or do you play chess? I'm definitely going to bring my chessboard because I know...
I'll play chess.
Sorry.
I'm not good at chess, but I'll play it with you. I'm horrible at that game.
Well, I actually know a guy who owns a place there, and he plays chess. And the most cool thing about this, I think we played twice, and he beat me twice. Not necessarily because he was better, but he had a fucking hawk as a pet, and that hawk creeped me out because I'm afraid of dogs. I mean birds. They're creepy. So I was a little bit distracted, but next time I'm definitely gonna bring my camera.
So every time you would like put him into check, that hawk would like look you right in the eye and give you the fear of God.
Well, the weird thing with dogs, why do I keep saying dogs? The weird thing with birds is that they look or they watch in a weird way. So when their head is straight towards you, they don't really look at you. They turn sideways. It's like a chicken, you know what I mean? And that just creeps me out because imagine something that is looking at you, but the head doesn't really tell you that it's looking at you.
Totally. And they have those upside down eyelids, those clear eyelids. They go from the bottom up. Have you noticed that?
Nah, I know what you mean, but I never really paid attention.
Yeah, they blink up. It's really creepy.
Especially a hawk, man. It feels like this shit can attack you at any time.
Sure, they got claws like a beast. Those are predators.
But one of the most beautiful dogs is dogs. I keep on saying it. Jesus, what is wrong with me? One of the most beautiful birds is actually a hawk, the biggest one in the world. I can't remember the name, living somewhere in the Amazon. Really hard to find because it's living at the top of the trees and it has monkeys on their eating schedule. That is amazing. If you're such a big bird that you actually can catch monkeys, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that means it can eat children too. I mean, if you think about it, that's pretty crazy.
There's actually...
That's a big bird.
Yeah. Are you afraid in Thailand of snakes and stuff like this? Because there's a bunch of snakes around here, and I heard some really creepy stories. Plus, not long ago, after the bombing here in Thailand, a few days afterwards, I was sitting at a friend's restaurant, and we heard a bunch of ambulance passing by, 10, 15 ambulance car, fire cars, and we were wondering what's going on. And then the next day, we saw the newspaper and saw that they captured a anaconda that came up the river. And it needed 15 firemen to lift it up. That's insane.
Wow, that's wild.
That shit can eat everything.
I've always liked snakes. I've always liked them, but they're pretty dark little creatures. And the snakes in Thailand, like I wouldn't even know how to handle a cobra. I would freak out if I dealt with a cobra. But an average little snake, if I see it going down the road or the grass or whatever, I'll just stay away from it, and it'll usually leave you alone. I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, I scared a couple of resort guests in Koh Tao because we had one of those green snakes, I forget the name, and it was always hiding in the same bush, but they were not really dangerous. However, if you didn't know that was there, you couldn't see it. So sometimes I just screamed or yelled at the guest and said, hey, wait a second, can you just look to your right? And then they look into the bush and they go closer and closer, and then out of the sudden they see the snake. Scared the shit out of them, but it was awesome entertainment for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that in the island too. That just sounds perfect way to pass the time.
Where we are going on the island, this island is actually also known for hornbills, I believe they are called. You know the birds that you have on the Haribo, the candy package?
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of them around. And glowing plankton, man. That is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Oh, very cool.
But you have you actually witnessed something like that? Because I know you haven't really been on a vacation ever since you came to Thailand.
No, I really haven't. I've never been scuba diving, or I've spent a lot of time in nature, but just not in an island. So
spend a lot of time.
I'm excited to try this.
Well, it's time for a vacation then. How long have you been in Thailand? You said?
Over 4 years now.
Yeah, so it's definitely time for a vacation. Are you only going to go to the island with me, or do you have other plans as well? Are you flying via Bangkok? What is your travel plan?
I've got all of October off and paid, so I'm going to go to Bangkok the probably the first week and spend time with you and my buddy Dan. And then after we go to the island, I might end up going back to Bangkok for a few days as well. I'm not sure.
I mentioned to you that we have a little Full Metal Dojo Halloween edition coming up, probably at the beginning of November because of the King's cremation. There is no events going on in all of October because out of respect. So, are you going to stay around for a Full Metal Dojo show? Because you have never been.
If I would love that, I would absolutely love that. I love watching John Nutt's promotions; he's hilarious. I need to go see this live. It all depends on when my school season starts. I do have paid sick leave and paid me time I can take if I have to. So I think I can probably make that work.
Dude, you have luxury, getting paid for vacation and all this kind of stuff. I wish I had that.
I had to work my ass off for it.
Yeah, well, that's well deserved then, but still, that's a luxury that I admire and I'm a little bit jealous of because I can't.
It's a luxury I've never had before. It's definitely something new to me.
You have kind of, in my view, in my opinion, perspective, and of our conversations, you're kind of switched to a workaholic. You have always been passionate about things like your music, but judging from what you have told me from your past, this is the first time you actually really embrace the grind. Am I right here or am I wrong?
Well, I mean, I've never wanted to be a workaholic. In Portland, I did a lot of manual labor and I worked 12 to 15 hour days sometimes. So I've always worked hard. But this time I just wanted to see what I could do with this new career teaching English and stuff. Now I'm focused on working so I can save money and actually create my album because it costs a lot of money to do this. And I've just been swinging by and spending my money on other things I shouldn't be spending it on. So now I'm just working hard so I can actually go out and live my passion.
Hard work pays off. When was the last time you were back in Portland?
Since I stepped foot out of Portland and moved to Thailand, I've not been back.
Yeah, man, that is another place that you want to go back to. I can kind of hear the same thing from a lot of expats, including myself. I don't really want to go back to Germany or Sweden, but I kind of have to make it very soon because my parents keep on complaining and I haven't seen them, I haven't visited them. Are your parents the same?
Yeah, I mean, my family definitely thinks it's kind of weird that I haven't been back, but they understand why. It's expensive to just fly back for a month, you know?
Yeah, especially to the States. It's how much is it? I pay from here to Bangkok. Well, that would be cheap because I'm in Bangkok. But from Bangkok to Norway, which is where my parents live, right at the border between Norway and Sweden, around, if you have good timing and you make a really good deal, you can get a good flight for around 250 euros, 300 euros, which is 350. Cheap. That's super cheap. Norwegian Air and Finnair is the cheapest airline to travel to Southeast Asia from Europe. I always recommend that to my friends. But when we talk America, it's a whole different deal.
I paid about 30,000 baht, so it's about $800 to $900, I think.
What?
For a one-way ticket to Thailand from Seattle.
For a one-way ticket, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Let that sink in there for a while. So that's maybe the answer why Americans don't travel as much as other countries because it's too expensive.
Yep, that's exactly the answer.
But do you miss Portland? I guess not. What a stupid question because I haven't been back.
I mean, I do. I miss my friends and family in that area a lot. The city's kind of going to shit right now. A lot of crazy stuff happening.
Well, kind of the whole country goes to shit with...
Yeah. Portland used to be a very, very special place full of amazing artists and unique people. And now it's... Now California's taken over and making a lot of business stuff that's pushing everybody out, making it unaffordable to live there.
A question that I always wanted to ask to my hashtag America friends is, are there a lot of scooters in America? Because that is something that is super regularly here in Asia and Southeast Asia. In Germany, not really. Do you have that in the States?
No, I mean, they're there, but I mean, you got to pay for insurance and stuff like that, which is it's not so cheap. I had a couple of friends that had those. Most people just have motorcycles, full-size motorcycles. If they want to go the two-wheel route, but the general population has cars, and usually 2 to 3 for a family.
Yeah, because you can, of course, drive 3-4 cars at the same time. That's the most stupid thing. Why do you need so many cars? It's like Jay Leno.
Because America.
It's America.
I can have 3 cars, so I'm going to get 3 cars.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense. I mean, if you or your wife wants to go somewhere different, then you can take this car, and she can take that car, and then you got a kid, they can take that car. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I had the conversation yesterday on the other podcast I was invited to. We're talking about shoes. Cars feels a little bit the same thing. A lot of people collect shoes, and what is the purpose of that? Because you can only wear one pair, and then what do you do with the other one? They stay in the closet. They don't really fulfill their purpose. Does not make sense to me at all. So my question to you, dear Mr. Anthony Floyd Brady, are you A, scooter person, B, car person, or C, a sneaker person?
I mean, I have a scooter. I have.
Your reaction was priceless.
I've had a few cars before, and now I've got maybe 5 pairs of shoes. So I guess in numbers game, I'm a shoe person because I've got more of those than anything else. But I only have 5 pair, including dress shoes, sneakers, flip flops, and one for everything.
That's more than double the amount of shoes that I have.
Yeah. How many shoes do you have?
2.
2?
Yeah, one for the gym and one for the walk.
Oh, I thought you meant one for the left foot and one for the right foot.
No, 2 pair. I got 2 pair.
Okay, cool.
Let's put it that way. But I'm actually thinking of going. I never really was into sneakers, but I kind of had a passion for Puma Glides because they were back in the days tennis shoes, but they were also very, very popular for dancers, for b-boys and all kinds of dancers. And they come in different colors and they are really light on your feet. But we will see if I make it. I'm lazy. That's probably the only reason because I never really make it to the mall, and I don't really like shopping.
Oh, I hate the mall. The mall's the worst place in the world.
Well, I have to say, before I went to Shanghai last week, I bought myself 2 proper pairs of jeans. And sorry, my dear audience, I know I've been rambling about those 2 pair of jeans a lot, but it's the first proper pair of jeans that I actually bought myself since my parents used to buy my clothes when I was a kid, because I'm more kind of a Dickies person and short pants, and I don't really care what I wear. I mean, I do care what I wear, but a proper pair of jeans, quality jeans that cost you an arm.
How much do those cost?
Well, I think that is, around 75. One was 75 and the other one was still under 100. I think 95 or 99, something like that.
That's not overpriced at all. I know people that spend $300-400 on jeans sometimes. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. But
that's a good price for a good pair of jeans.
Yeah, but you got to say jeans and shoes, you got to spend your money on. My dad always used to say that, and he's kind of correct. I see that because the pair of pants that I buy mostly, they last me not very long, and now having a proper couple of jeans kind of makes me feel better because I know I'm settled for the next year or so. However, I was super excited. So yeah, that was my biggest shopping moment in the last couple of years, I would almost say, because from backpacking back to photography, you don't really shop a lot.
Yeah, I mean, now you've got 2 more years before you have to worry about it.
Boom, #artist life.
It's awesome. So man, I've been wanting to talk to you about you've been traveling a lot doing this photography for one championship. This has got to be the ultimate job. This is pretty badass. Well,
it depends on. It's still work, and something I had the conversation. I always refer to other conversations when I talk about this, but there's a lot of people that comment on my Instagram when I post making ofs of shooting ring girls or flying here or flying there.
Sucks. Poor you.
Wait, let me finish, man. Let me finish. What I'm trying to say here, of course I enjoy my work, but after all, it's still work. I enjoy the travels, but you know how it is. If you go somewhere, if you say to your friends in America, I'm going to go to Thailand, a lot of people say, oh, that's amazing, that's fucking incredible, you are so lucky. But you're not really lucky because you worked for it, and second of all, you have to take the flight there, and traveling is stressful no matter if you want or not. Nobody can tell me that they enjoy to sit in a bus for 18 hours or having a flight full with Chinese tourists for 4, 5, 6 hours. That is not the most pleasant thing. And
absolutely,
as I already mentioned twice, it is still work. So you deal with deadlines, and that's the whole reason why I took a break when we met from photography, because it became too much. I kind of lost the fun. But with one championship, I really enjoy it. Of course, there's ups and downs because you have to adjust to what the client wants, but it's up to you what you make out of it. It's the same thing when somebody asks you to play a gig on a concert and says, yeah, but you cannot play this and this song. You will still enjoy playing, but it could have been better if you could have chosen your tracks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But, and the fact that now you're a fighting fan, I think this job got you getting in to be an actual fighting fan. But I always say that it's amazing that you're right up cage front, with the best view. But you're not really watching the fight. Just like we were talking about, it's hard to have a conversation and pay attention to the fight. You're taking quality photos. So you're not really able to watch. You're able to see shit happen, but I'm guessing that you're not really able to watch the fight.
No, you're completely right. I shoot editorial for one championship, which means my shots are more artistic. I try to find different angles. I don't shoot the press way where you just trigger your camera, take 50,000 pictures and then you give them to the media. I try to take it more from the artistic side, create a story of not only the fight but the walk-in, the preparation, the days before, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm very focused on finding these angles, and then also when you have the perfect shot, that is when your shutter of the camera actually moves up and down, which means the camera closes for a second where you're
missing the shot that you're taking.
Exactly. So if you have a good shot, you can tell immediately. If you didn't see the punch landing, you probably have a very good shot. And sometimes I have to watch myself because I want kind of, yes! And then you cannot really do this cage side. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's gotta be,
I have to rewatch.
It's rough, man, because it's such an exciting atmosphere to be in. I remember when I went to the one championship in Bangkok, it's just really exciting atmosphere.
You were just glassing from the far.
I was just glassing.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah. I was just glassing in there, and it was super exciting, and I could watch you down there, and I can see you're really good at what you're doing, but it's got to be, you have to really focus, I'm sure, because of all that. I mean, all the shit shooting up in the air, all the ribbons after stuff. You're in the middle. That's when everybody's celebrating, that's when you're like on par for your job.
And then sometimes you have to watch out what the people behind you say, like, get your fucking head down and all this kind of stuff. And
are they rude about it? Like that?
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Like that? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I try to. I'm very conscious and aware of myself and my surroundings. So when I'm actually not shooting, I try to sit down on my knees so the people can watch. And then of course I try to keep it on the down low when I shoot as well. But yeah, shit happens sometimes. And sometimes when you want to get the best shot, you have to move a lot. Sometimes I run into people. So far, luckily, knocking on wood, hasn't really happened anything bad, but I was close a couple of times. That was the reason why I needed new shoes, because my shoes just open up. So I kind of tripped over them. And then But I know you're a UFC fan. Wait, before we continue here, because we are 32 minutes into this conversation, and sometimes you kind of have to go in stealth mode. You have to be undercover. Let me drop some knowledge here. I heard rumors from my One Championship audience and fans that there are plans. This is not confirmed yet. As I mentioned, these are just rumors, but there are plans that Martin Negin is going to defend his title later this year. So that means he's going to fight one more time. There's a few names in the mix, but the biggest one is Boku. So one of my favorite fighters, because he has a bunch of tattoos and is always happy. So if that fight really is about to happen, I'm a little lucky motherfucker.
That's exciting, man.
I'm looking forward to that. But
that's cool.
Come back here to my question to you, because I know you're a huge UFC fan and you've been involved and watching MMA for a very, very long time. And you actually always distract me when I work. Whenever I have internet along cage side, I get a message from you telling me, get down, I see your face. I see you
in your purple shirt. I'll call you out right there. See if you notice. I've done that for my friends a couple times. Like, hey, I know that guy. Watch this. He'll take out his phone and I'll message him.
I'm so stupid. I always look at my phone because I know it's you. And I know you always, I always like to hear your opinion about fights, because you are very analytic about fights. You analyze fights, and even though you don't fight, you break them down very good. So I know when my phone vibrates, it must be a message from the Brady. So I can't resist.
I love it. That's awesome.
But
I think it's kind of cool that me and you we've always gotten along, but we connected through MMA in a really big way. It's pretty cool.
That's
true.
Awesome sport. That's true. We get to know each other in Laos during a visa run, And then I had you playing music at my exhibition in Bangkok, a small one. And somehow MMA was always the kind of conversation subject where we connected. But I want to ask you this question because I don't want to forget it. And we all know what happens to your brain when you like to be out in the greens. You forget a lot of stuff. So let me put this down. You are a huge MMA fan and a UFC follower, but the whole purpose of telling the audience that you always text me when I'm working is you texted me very proud not long ago. I think there was a Macau beginning of August that you actually bought your first one championship pay-per-view. And give me the total honesty, man. I'm a freelancer. They hire me as their photographer. We don't need to please anybody here. So a lot of people always think, and if you actually write me on Facebook, no, I'm not promoting the promotion because they hire me. It's because I enjoy my work. But I want to have your honest opinion. What did you think about the Macau card? And
I thought everything about it was fantastic. There's some things that they need to work on the sound side. There's certain things that they didn't quite switch to the right microphone. This is not my game. I'm not exactly a sound guy, but things that I noticed, like certain things would cut out and you would hear nothing but silence when somebody was supposed to be talking. Just little things like that. But that happens in the UFC too. I've noticed quite a bit. It's just the sound guys forget to switch to the. I honestly, I don't even know what it is, but something was a little bit off. Other than that, literally, it was. I think one championship puts on a better show than the UFC.
Yeah, they have.
To be 100% honest.
Yeah, their whole walk-in is just completely different because they put up a massive stage, and everybody has their own walk-in intro, video, and music. And
yeah, that's like Bellator and I believe Strikeforce did the same thing. It's just very cool. It's like WWE. They come out, they have their background, and you hear you remember when you used to watch WWE or WWF and Stone Cold would come out and you knew it was him because you hear that glass breaking?
Yeah, exactly.
That's Stone Cold coming out, you know what I mean?
Flashback.
That's what I love about the one championship. It's just really exciting. Then you got someone like, what's that guy's name? Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon. His last name is impossible for me to.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but the guy's an amazing fighter, and he's a good showman. He comes out. When I saw him live, he came out on like a Yoshi dinosaur and a samurai sword, and he just puts on a show. It's really fun. Very entertaining.
Now it's very funny because his girlfriend is fighting in one championship as well. Unfortunately, he took the first loss in Macau, which I believe is actually a good thing because she wins and wins and wins. A loss is always a very good experience, and I think it came for her at a very good point at the beginning of her one championship career. But now you get double the excitement because they are a couple, they have a relationship, and they also, of course, to make it more interesting for the audience, they mostly fight on the same card. So now you get double the excitement because she does the same thing. Last time she came out as Bruce Lee and did a hell of a show with her, what do you call these? Nunchucks, yes.
Nunchaka!
Yeah, so that was very exciting, but he's very entertaining, and of course he is gonna fight in Bangkok later this year because One Championship is gonna put on another show for the people who want to witness the people Shannon, Rika, and also Dej Damrong, a Muay Thai legend with I don't know how many millions of fights. They're gonna have a
Muay Thai fighters fight so many fights,
dude. That's just incredible crazy because they start fighting when they're like they just come out of their mother and then they start fighting basically 300 fights, 400 fights. It's incredible. Yeah, so there's going to be a press conference here in Bangkok September 28th for the people who want to witness that. I don't actually know if that's open to public or if I just made it open to public, but yeah, so
the press conference, that seems pretty public, right?
Huh?
It's a press conference, so that's semi-public, yeah?
Kind of semi-public. There's going to be a lot of media. The question is how much space is there for the audience. You don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's public information. I don't think it might not be for the public, but at least you didn't do anything wrong by sharing.
No, I never do anything wrong. Didn't you know that?
Never. No.
No, I'm the perfect human.
Imagine.
I'm the perfect human being.
Yeah, you and Jesus. That's just on the same line.
Well, Jesus did one mistake. He kind of didn't really stick to his thing. He kind of gave up when he got hanged up on the cross there. But are we talking religion
but then he
now?
Came back. No, we're just talking about some random guy from the Middle East.
But it's funny that you actually mentioned Jesus because I'm deep shit into South Park at the moment. And
nice.
Jesus is like, maybe the people would like me more if I get back to action. It's just hilarious. I love it.
Great. It's such a great show.
Oh, talking about South Park, man, and TV shows. Have you started watching
Rick and Morty? Rick and Morty? Tell me Rick and Morty.
No, not Rick and Morty. I don't even know who you're talking about. But
that's the best new show out there right now.
No, it can't be. First of all, I'm almost done with House of Cards, but I know you're not really into politics, so I don't want to get into that. But
I got into that. It's okay.
What do you mean it's okay?
But for a politics show, it's good.
It's amazing.
Indeed.
It's huge.
It's Kevin Spacey. I can't get over your Trump. It's such a good impersonation.
Well, you say it's crazy, and American politics are crazy. But again, I don't want to get into politics. I'm talking about Narcos season 3.
Oh yeah, I've been watching it. Absolutely.
Please don't say anything, because that is what I'm gonna do after this podcast.
Dumbledore dies, dude. Dumbledore dies.
No.
Spoiler.
No. Are you into Game of Thrones?
Are you kidding me? I've seen every episode like 5 times.
No, are you for real?
Yeah, 100%. It's the best show ever made.
Okay, I got some breaking news for you.
What's that?
I watched my first Game of Thrones in Shanghai.
Wow.
And it was the final episode of season 7. I didn't understand.
Oh, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
I didn't understand a shit.
Oh my god. No, you got to start from the beginning, because it's a slow start. It takes a little. I didn't like it the first episode. I didn't like it. I didn't know what's going on. And then I rewatched it, and then I really liked it. And you get hooked after about 3 or 4 episodes. You can't unlike that show. It's so perfect and so intense.
Well, I didn't really have a chance, because that was all that was on in the hotel room, HBO, and they showed the series. And I never really watched Game of Thrones. I've always been kind of a hater, because I'm not really into dragons. But
it's so much more than dragons. You know, like incest. It's all about incest too.
That is such a weird question. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't say yes, and I couldn't even say yes to that question. If you like incest, watch Game of Thrones.
There is a lot of incest in that show, and there's a lot of boobs and a lot of wieners too. So it's really for everybody.
Well, when we were writing before this podcast episode, I actually told you we're going to talk about deadly silent scooter taxis and China and MMA and the size of my penis. So I guess we came into
we got right there, full circle,
into the penis section here. But talking about penis and things that just take too long. Ha! Pun intended.
Bam.
Boom. The thing that I didn't really like with Game of Thrones, with the episode, I understand that I didn't really get the whole story. And I don't really
none of the story.
Exactly, and I don't really care about this, and I probably already forgot it. But what I really dislike with the show, that it reminded me a lot of Dragon Balls. And
Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
I've never seen that show. I'm not really an anime fan.
Well, to explain here, the reason why I compare these two is that in Game of Thrones and in Dragon Ball Z, they kind of need an hour for one fucking conversation. They try to make it over dramatic.
Well, I mean, that's what you came into season 7, where it's just like shit's really going down, and it's one of those shows that you have to, like, I have to watch when the new season comes out, or like basically when the season ends. While I'm waiting for the new season to come out, I rewatched those previous seasons so I can finally figure out what's going on, because there's so much going on. So it's hard to follow, for sure. It's a dedication.
Well, as a dedicated Game of Thrones fan, as you seem to be, how much did it bother you that somebody kidnapped a few episodes and kind of were holding them hostage? What was going on there? Can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I just saw bits and pieces coming through my Facebook newsfeed.
I actually haven't heard about that.
Well, there were a few episodes that apparently got kidnapped or stolen by some hackers, and they wanted some ransom money for that. So
nah, they have to have way too many copies. The one if they lost a hold of whatever one that was kidnapped or whatever, I'm sure there's about 3 or 4 other copies in a safe locked away.
Yeah.
They couldn't put all their eggs in one basket.
But what I heard is that they're only going to have one more season, and what are you going to do after that? I mean, what is your next show to watch?
Well, there's spin-offs, and as we know anything from Breaking Bad, when that show ended and I almost cried, they had the spin-off with Better Call Saul, and it was like it never disappeared. It was beautiful. So I'm all about spin-offs.
That's another thing that I have to admit. I never watched the episode of Breaking Bad.
Jeez, Steve-O. Those are the 2 shows in the world that I could say are necessary to watch.
Necessary.
So
you are saying this should be part of education in schools?
Yes, they should teach you how to cook meth and sell meth in school. It's much better than algebra and much more efficient than accounting. It's good stuff.
That is why I like you, because you have funny replies sometimes. And teaching how to make meth in school, that probably brings us on the radar of some NSA people listening to this wonderful podcast.
Hello, NSA. You got any good meth recipes we can share with everybody?
Ka-ching. No, let's not talk about meth. Let's talk about, we talked about Narcos. What else show is worthy? Yeah, what else show is worthy to mention? I'm telling
you, this Rick and Morty show you've got to check out. It's the best thing. It's even a step above South Park, and I say that very lightly because I love South Park. Okay, but this show, Rick and Morty, is the best animated series ever created.
Okay, so for you, explain to me from American to a German, what is Rick and Morty?
So Rick and Morty originally was based as a joke cartoon from the people that created it made it as an online joke for the adventures of Doc and Marty. Do you know Doc and Marty from Back to the Future?
Yes. So
there was basically just this really horrible, really dark humor, dirty humor, like 5-minute short about the adventures of Doc and Marty. And Doc is like the greatest scientist in the world, and Marty's just, a little lost teenager stuck in puberty or whatever. Well, it got so much good responses that they were able to get funded and make an actual season out of it. And they created something that is so scientific and so brilliant. It's basically Doc turned into Rick. Rick is the smartest man in the universe, and he's got a portal gun, and he travels all around the universe, just doing shit, whatever he wants to, because he's the smartest man in the universe. And he takes his grandson Morty out on all these adventures because school is a waste of time, and he basically wants to show him, science. And it's really, really an intelligent made show, really funny, really dirty. And it's one of those shows where they have YouTube videos breaking down the episodes because you miss so much stuff.
So they all
Yeah, go ahead.
So they all belong together. You have to start with one, and then it follows up.
Oh, absolutely. There's a storyline, and they're on season 3 right now. Season 1, it gets really funny and then really dark. Some really real conversations between family members that are just like, whoa, they went there. It's great. I know you would like it. I'm very sure. If you like South Park, you're going to be all about this show.
Well, I have to tell you, because I have, I of course Google it at the same time as we talk about it. So, because curiosity is taking over, and I told you I'm deep shit into South Park, and I live stream most of the episodes on YouTube because they have channels there, of course, that show South Park 24/7. And when I see
it's Rick and Morty too.
Yes, and I've seen them there, but I never really clicked on the play button. But now
when I see, watch it in order though.
Yeah, when I see the pictures now, it actually looks familiar. And what I also see is that Sarah Schalk is doing the voice of Beth Smith, and I bet you have no idea who Sarah Schalk is.
From Scrubs?
No, you did know. You are my best friend forever.
Or Becky, too, from Roseanne?
Yeah.
I know all about her. Yeah.
Kaboom.
This show is full of awesome people.
Yeah, she is Scrubs. I have to say it's my favorite TV show of all time. I know I'm a nerd, and I know I'm probably a pussy saying that, but I don't care.
It's a good show. It's a very good show. For a sitcom, it's one of the best sitcoms out there. It's very smartly made.
Yeah. So that is another show that I have to get into. Netflix Narcos Season 3, and then Rick and Morty also.
Rick and Morty, yes.
Maybe one day I make it to Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones.
You won't regret it, I'm telling you. Go with Breaking Bad. It's less intense than Game of Thrones. You don't have to follow as much storyline, but holy shit, it's incredible. And it grabs you by the balls on the first episode.
It grabs you by the balls.
Indeed.
I was just about to Google a name, and I was thinking of one of my favorite stand-up comedians. I forgot his name. And of course, here we go, because I wanted to ask you if you're still following that show. Funny-wise, last time we spoke, I actually told you that I'm watching this episode or this show at the moment. And Yeah, you said and replied immediately, you know what, I'm watching it as we speak. And of course, I'm talking about Bill Burr here. And what's the name of the show? Netflix. F is for family. Are you still following that? That is one of
it's great.
One of the
It's
best
great.
shows.
Well, I mean, they're working on season 3 now, so I binge watch them when they come out on Netflix. I watch them all in like one day.
Yeah, that's the awesome part with Netflix. You can just watch everything in one go. It's not like back in the days where you have to wait a week until the next episode comes out. Nowadays, it's just bam.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about Game of Thrones is you have to wait a week, and now we got to wait for 2 years. So they release it on Netflix. It's bam, you just watch it, finish it, and it's great.
I actually have to do a big ego drop here, but I'm very proud of that. I'm actually going to be on Netflix in 2018.
For what?
Not me, myself, and I, but one of my pictures, or a few of my pictures, is going to be used. I'm talking about, what is the fighting show about? A boxing gym or a fighting gym that was on Netflix? What's the name of that?
I'm not sure. I've heard of it.
Yeah, I
definitely want to check it out now.
I was talking about that. However, the actor there, they quit the show, but now he has a new show which is launching in 2018, and he is doing a TV show / documentary about weird martial arts around the world. So they went to Nigeria to talk about Nigerian wrestling, and then they came to Bangkok, of course, for Muay Thai, but they also went to Myanmar for Lethwei. And so last time I was there, I was just wondering what all these awesome fucking Red cameras do there. For the people who are not familiar with the equipment, Red is one of the most amazing cameras that you can find on the market. Shutter Island has been filmed with that, and you have to be a little bit of a geek to actually appreciate that camera. However, I was drooling all over these cameras, and I was asking them what they do, and they told me they were from Netflix, and my little light went on. Hey, let me give you my website in case you need any footage. And then 6 months later, I'm kidding, 4 months later, 3 months later, they actually typed me a message, and I'm very happy about that. So I'm looking forward to be a little bit featured on Netflix.
Hey, congratulations. That's big news, man. That's
Thank
great.
you. Where's all the love? Audience, give me more love. My ego needs to be filled. Give me more. I'm just joking, man. I'm just making conversation. Something else that I need to do, my dear lovely audience, is to leave you with a little bit of music, because I'm having a beer while we speak, and that means one thing and one thing only, that I need to take a leak. So, Anthony, I give you the chance to take a 30-second break here. I'm going to put on some music, and I will be right back in a couple of seconds. And of course, you're listening to the Surrounded by Details podcast with Anthony Floyd Brady and Steve-O, and we're going to talk about deadly electric scooters in China when I come back in a few seconds. Kabuya, and there I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony,
There
are
he
you
is.
still with me?
Indeed.
That is lovely to hear. That was actually a premiere, the first time that I took a lead on a live podcast.
I hope it won't be the last.
Well, I hope for many more peas during my podcast. I'm so happy that we talk about this, because now it makes me wonder, should I pee in a glass, in a bottle, or should I just make a break every time and then go to the
Ari
toilet?
Shaffir does that. You know that, right?
Yeah, are you saying that because you watched the latest Joe Rogan podcast episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That was hilarious, man. I enjoyed
Well, he
that.
does it on a lot of podcasts. He's been doing that for a long time.
Well,
It's hilarious.
maybe that's something I should adapt to, especially when I'm back to video.
Exactly.
I'm just joking. But hey,
Great.
talking about the latest Joe Rogan podcast episode, they were talking bets and so on, and I know we have a little beef going on here as well, because we have been joking around of actually fighting each other in a little training match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it would be fun. I would love. It'd be fun to spar.
Well, we will see if
Well, you
that's
know.
fun for you when I'm done with you, boy.
You'll probably whoop my ass. I mean, you're in the fighting game.
Yeah,
Not
but
as a fighter, but you're around all the people. All you got to do is, hey, all you famous fighters out there. Hey, how do I do a chokehold for this asshole? Yeah.
you know what's
Meanwhile, I want to be swinging fists, not knowing what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, you know what's funny? That that is probably the most incorrect fact that we have been talking about today, because something that always protected me from trouble was my sense for trouble and my body size, because I'm quite tall. I have a beard, so a lot of people think, you know, when you judge other people, and a lot of people judge me, he's tall, he has a beard, he has tattoos, I'm better not fucking around with this guy. But
Sure.
if they only knew, my friend, if they only knew.
Yeah, I get that too. People usually tend to be intimidated by me just by my look.
Yeah, you actually, you mentioned you were washing your hair before the podcast episode, but you are actually bald, you have a beard, and you're a heavy metal
Yes.
guy. But yet, I'm not scared to face you in the ring with
Let's do it.
150,000 pound gloves.
Exactly. Let's use the 20-ounce gloves.
Yeah, they're all made of feathers.
Yes, perfect. Oh, so you're saying you want to have a pillow fight?
That's exactly what I'm saying, my friend. So,
Perfect.
yeah, I don't know how this podcast turned so gay so quick, but well, pillow fight it is then. Maybe in Kopanyam we will see. How are we gonna do this? Are we gonna say, okay, it's gonna happen, and then we do a training camp, or are we just gonna go straight to it?
I don't want to do anything too serious. I mean, you're too nice of a guy for me to want to punch in the face really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a very nice guy. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, for a German, you're okay.
What you mean? All Germans are nice. We are just misunderstood often.
Just misunderstood. Exactly.
Yeah. They said it
Mostly
yesterday.
because of that accent.
Yeah, that's so true. But I said it yesterday on the podcast. Now with Donald Trump as a president, Adolf Hitler doesn't look so bad anymore, huh?
Right? At least he could paint.
Oh, I have to remember that one. At least Adolf could paint. But yeah,
Right.
racist jokes is something that I enjoy a lot, but most of the people don't enjoy racist jokes.
People need to chill the fuck out, man. Racism is bad in certain events, but when it's being joked about, they're just jokes.
I also think if you think that racist jokes are racist, that probably makes you a racist yourself.
Some of my favorite jokes are racist, even against white people. They're hilarious.
Hmm.
I love jokes. I love all types of jokes that are just rude.
But dude, that's actually funny that we come into the subject of jokes in general and laughing. Something that I realized, and that's where my brain kind of went, okay, I really need to do something aside photography and podcasting. I need to find a new hobby. I still haven't figured out what that is. I'm doing my training, my exercise every day, or most of the days. Unfortunately, I'm really having a bad habit when it comes to traveling and exercising. Somehow I can't make that fit quite yet, but you live and you learn. However, I was thinking the other day when I was sitting on the BTS, I can't really remember when was the last time that I actually really laughed, and I mean literally pee myself because I couldn't stop laughing. I don't really remember when that was.
Oh man, I think the last time I had a laugh attack was on mushrooms.
It kind of feels like you can remember that way more when you're a kid, but when you're grown up, these moments kind of fade and they become less. Is that the same for you, or I'm crazy here?
No, when I watch comedy, this is why I watch comedy, because there's nothing better than laughing. So I watch a lot of comedy, stand-up or whatever it takes, and I try to laugh as much as possible.
But do you actually laugh out loud, or do you more laugh inside?
I laugh out loud all the time. I've laughed out loud to your podcast, listening to your podcast quite a few times. I like to laugh out loud. I never type LOL.
That's actually true. That's something that I never really paid attention to, but you always type ha ha ha.
Exactly.
Yeah, why don't you type 555 for the people who are not living in
I do
Thailand?
that with Thai people. When I'm talking to my Thai friends, I always say 555.
Can you explain to our audience what exactly that means? Because we actually have some audience that is not living in the beautiful land of Smile or in Southeast Asia. So when somebody writes to you 555 here in Thailand, what does that mean?
It means ha ha ha. It means laugh, because the number 5 is pronounced ha. So it goes nung sam si ha hok jet back out. So ha is 5, and they take the ha 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 from Western culture and combine it together for a fantastic little joke.
Kapom, and that means yes sir. One of my favorite words, kapom.
Kapom.
Kapom. Sabai mai.
Sabai di ma krab.
ผมพอไทยนิดหน่อยนะ
ผมเข้าใจภาษาไทยนิดหน่อย
Dude, we just sounded so awesome, like we really can speak Thai. For somebody who is not aware of Thai skills, we probably sounded like a pro.
Probably, but those people that are out there that actually speak Thai were like, who are these white boys trying to speak my language?
Yeah, funky white boys though, because I have to repeat myself. I'm sorry, I said it at the intro here when we were waiting for the live stream or the conversation to start. I always play some music and to let the audience actually spread the link, to tune in, give them a chance, and also give them a chance to enjoy some really good music, because as much as there are great musicians around in Thailand and great artists, that is something that is missing here. A cool place with really cool music. I mean, here in Bangkok we have maybe 1, 2, maybe 3, but man, we are definitely the most funkiest podcast out here in Southeast Asia.
I'm digging it. I was actually joining you for your opening. I was listening to it, just waiting for I was using that as a cue for when you were going to call me.
So you know, okay, now it's time.
Yeah. Exactly. I was watching the countdown and hearing you come in every once in a while. It was great.
You were having ready fireworks, champagne, like New Year's. 10, 9, 8,
exactly.
7, 6. How do you celebrate New Year?
God. I don't really do a lot of the countdown. I usually just go out and hang out with friends at a party. Usually like to go to a big party. I don't like to go out to a club or anything like that.
Yeah, do you play gigs, or do you say no, New Year, I don't play any gigs?
I usually would say yes to gigs on New Year's because there's so many people out and I love to play for a big crowd, so absolutely.
Talking about gigs, man, something that I wanted to ask you, because after we spoke last time, you actually had a big concert coming up. You were on a festival.
Yeah, we did the Pledak Attack Festival, opening up for Brand New Sunset, which is a pretty old famous underground metal band in Thailand. It went really well.
Yeah, share with us, because there were a lot of bands and big names that we even had on the One Championship show here in Bangkok before. And out of the sudden, I see my buddy Anthony Floyd Brady up there on the stage. And I also want to know if you know the photographer who took the brilliant pictures of you, because there's a bunch of cool pictures circling around on the World Wide Web. Tell us all about it.
It was run by KK Underground, which is a few guys from a very old, not too old, but classic metal Thailand band, or a Konkan band called ADNL, and they own this production company that starts running underground metal festivals, and they invited me to play this show, opening for this band called Brand New Sunset, who turns out to be a really, like 10 years ago, they got pretty big all over the radio and stuff, and they just, I think they might have took a hiatus, and now they're coming back again because they're on another tour all around the country. So we got to do that. A couple of local bands from Isan joined us, and we just opened up a big festival at one of the local markets. It wasn't very big because it's metal is not very big in Thailand. It's because it's just it's not pop. They love their pop music here. So, but there's definitely some people here that truly love rock and metal music, and that's kind of what they're trying to get out there to bring. They're bringing people from all around Thailand together for this style, and you had a really good group of people out there doing it, and they really appreciated the music, which is really nice.
Yeah, it looked a lot of fun on social media, as I mentioned. As I said, please give a shout out to the photographer, because we are all about photography here on this podcast, because I love photography.
To be honest, I can't remember his name. I just met him at that show. I can definitely send you the link and you can post it. He's fantastic, really nice guy. He actually does do a lot of, he is a photographer, so he does a lot of work doing, everything. So he reminded me of your work. He's got that very, very unique look to his photographs. Every photo seems to,
it has its own kind of style. I totally agree.
Yeah.
That is what catched my eye, and this is why I brought it up, because it was not looking like the typical concert photography. He had different angles. He mixed a little bit with the colors, and I really enjoyed it.
He took a picture of I was wearing my dress shoes, and he took a picture of my shoes next to my guitar pedals, and I was like, that's a really cool picture, actually. I never would have thought of that. But he had some really great ideas.
Yeah, we are surrounded by details, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't believe we've been talking about all kinds of stuff, but we haven't even once mentioned the name of your band, Era Toka, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure to check that out on Facebook. And do you guys still have no Instagram, or what's happening on that end?
We need to. We're not really a touring band yet. We play special events every 2 months or so. 2 or 3 months we'll play a nice big show. We're starting to make our name out there. People definitely know who we are. But we don't. My bandmates are professional musicians that play every day all around Isan. So. They don't have a lot of time to do that. So if I were to have an Instagram account, it would make more sense to be with a band that I spend time with every day and stuff like that. So right now we're just working on music video. That's the next step.
Yeah.
So
yesterday I had a very open conversation with a friend of mine where I said it, I don't know how many times I said it or referred to it on this podcast, but I do it once again because this is my podcast. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
That's right.
Yeah. Small Talk Podcast, TJ McKenzie, amazing athlete, and he has been fighting here in Asia. He is or was a radio technician at the US of A Army based in Japan, then decided to come over and crack some faces here in Thailand. But recently he decided to actually retire from fighting because he doesn't feel it anymore and go back to the military. And I had some open thoughts to him because I like to be honest to friends. So I really hope that he knows what he is doing, not just throwing away things, because he was very successful and one of my favorite upcoming fighters here in East Asia. So here's some honesty for you, my friend. You are one of those people in my eyes that have a massive, massive talent, but I don't know what it is with you, man. You love teaching too much.
It's not about that. To be honest, I like teaching because I love kids and stuff, but this is not my passion. You're absolutely right. I've just fallen off that track of what I need to get back onto of focusing on my music. I'm truly not 100% happy unless I'm performing music on a regular basis. Teaching will never replace that.
Well, maybe we see more of that coming in the future, especially after our little island vacation coming up in Koh Tao.
I think you're right.
What am I saying? Sorry, not
Koh Tao. No, that's not where we're going.
I was just filling up the name because I wanted to say the name, but then realized I cannot say the name. Needed to adjust, couldn't do it, too much pressure, just came out with a bunch of pressure. Well, talking about bullshit, I did some pretty cool thing yesterday. I was mentioning something on the podcast that was a mistake, but then when I realized it was a mistake, I just went with it because I knew it's gonna give me more listeners for our episode. And yes, this is a plug for our next episode, September 12th, with Antoine Chérard, one of my best friends from France. A friend from France, working for TV Monde, Le Monde, the magazine. He is an amazing filmmaker and motion graphic artist, and he is in Japan at the moment. He had a friend's He had to visit a friend's wedding here in Thailand. So we saw each other shortly, but then he took off to Japan for a couple of days and weeks, and I took off to Shanghai, and he will be here on the 12th again. So we have one day to have a beer and do a podcast. So I thought, why not combine both of them? We're going to bring the podcast back to the Dreamcatcher Hostel Bar and Cafe here in Bangkok, who is also supporting this podcast with a lot of good energy and always supporting us in what we do. So I'm looking forward to go back there. And that's also a place where I would like to take you. It's a very small, comfy place. I have a bar with craft beer and all this kind of stuff. So next time you're in Bangkok, we're definitely going to go there.
I'll be there in the beginning of October, brother.
I'll be
100%.
there. Yes.
Yes, I will.
I will.
I will.
Anthony, something that I actually posted on Facebook that I wanted to talk to you about. Not really, I wanted to mention it because I was having a good laugh with my fellow photographer colleague, Dukes Cavahal. Have you ever been in China?
Have I ever been in China? No, I've not.
Did you know that there's a lot of scooters in China?
Of course.
Especially in Shanghai, the biggest city of China. And something that is really cool with China, or Shanghai in general, is that it completely surprised me. Because when I think of Shanghai, I think of Jackie Chan, I think of Shanghai Noons, I think of a lot of hustle and bustle. But then I arrived in Shanghai and it was completely quiet. Not really any pollution. And it was just organized. I was so surprised.
Is that because of the scooters?
I don't know. It was a mix of everything together, but I'm very happy that you mentioned it because the scooters is what caught my attention the most, because they are like deadly silent snipers. Because Shanghai has, or China in general, has a problem with pollution. So something that they actually do is to give benefits to the people who buy a electric scooter instead of a gas or diesel or whatever you fill your scooter with them. Gas scooters. So you get benefits, you get discount or whatever it is. And electric scooters are very, very quiet. So sometimes when you walk, you don't hear them. And then out of the sudden, you just have a scooter passing by. So I'm really wondering how many people die in scooter accidents, not because they drive shitty, but because they can't hear them. For the first time, I really realized that engine sound actually benefits the traffic more than I have been expecting.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the most obvious point we got to bring up, it's good because as we know in China, there's too many people, right?
Yeah.
So the silent assassin, that's just population control.
The silent assassin. They should make.
No, but I feel like they're quiet because they probably run on a better scale of non-pollution. You know what I mean? Like any car that you see is extremely loud, is extremely it's going to pollute a lot, right?
Yeah.
Any old American muscle car that you can feel that muscle, but you can also see the smoke coming out. So, but you hear the silence of a hybrid, and it's not doing anything. So I feel like if it's nice and silent bikes, it's probably. You said it was really quiet, and was it clean in Shanghai?
Oh yeah, it was super clean, man.
Yeah, that's so it's unlike the bikes here in Thailand where it's just the tuk-tuks and all the stuff like that. It's just extremely full of pollution.
I was actually having a walk because I always fly in a few days before. Then we have the photo shoot and we have some making ofs and some other stuff going on, like a face off. We had an amazing face off in Shanghai at the Indigo Hotel, right on the other side of the river. So we had a perfect view from the 30th floor on the skyline, on the second tallest building in the world, the Shanghai Tower, and of course also the Shanghai Financial Tower, I believe it is called. I don't have the facts right in front of me, but it is the biggest building with a hole in it in the world. So I guess that is a fact worth to mentioning. However, it was an amazing location, and on the day where I had time off, I actually decide, as always, to go out with my camera, take a couple of pictures, and I just go wild. I don't really make a plan. I just go in one direction and I see wherever it leads me. And it led me directly to the river again, And they kind of had a green mile there. So it was like a long, small park that went along the river. And it was really nice. And I just walked there and saw a lot of amazing stuff. They had some old military satellite ship in the docks that haven't been moved for I don't know how many years. And surprisingly, a lot of grandparents with their kids.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that is something that I really enjoyed. I would have loved to stick around and take photos, but taking photos of kids always makes me feel like a pedophile. You know, you get uncomfortable.
No. Don't let the pedophiles win. Don't let the pedophiles win.
I have to.
They win if that's the decision you come to.
I have to refer to Bill Burr here because he has this bit where he opens up like, today you can't enjoy making fun for kids anymore because people just look at you crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. And it's just because everybody freaks out about their kids nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's also all these kids are kind of weak now. They're all given cell phones and tablets, and they're not interacting with the real world. Like you said, with something beautiful. You said these kids were spending time with their grandparents walking down this green area, right?
Yeah, walking down. And
when's the last time you saw a grandparent with his kid not staring at an iPhone?
Well, that was a very long time ago. And even in China, I encountered that, but especially that day in the morning. It was Friday. Maybe that's a Friday thing they do. It was amazing because they were feeding the fish and they were playing football in the park. And that was just amazing, man. That was
awesome.
One of my highlights, actually, during the Shanghai trip. Oh, and talking about highlights, something I would like to ask you if that has ever encountered you. On the day of the event, which was Saturday, September 2nd, the event finished quite early because in China all events kind of have to be done by 10 p.m. and this is normally very early for a One Championship event and very early for me because I don't make it to the hotel before like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning and then I do the night edit. But this time it was very early and I decided to join once again my fellow photographer colleague Dukes Cavahal. Make sure to check him out on Facebook and his website as well. Amazing shots this guy has. Nice. And the TV commentary, the man himself, Mitch Chilson. We went for a hot pot in China. Nothing spectacular with that because a lot of people eat hot pot in China, but we walked into the place and we were advised to our table and I was last, so I think Dukes was walking first, Mitch was walking second, I was walking in the end and behind me was the waitress and I looked to my right and I see a face. And I was like, no, that can't be. And I looked to the face next to the face I saw. And I just screamed out. The whole restaurant stopped eating, looked at me. I pushed the waitress out of my way. I was running to the table. I was knocking my fist down on the table and said, that is not true. This is not happening. And I'm talking about my good Finnish friends, the Torvinens, that I have met. They were guests in my hostel in Laos many moonlights ago, and when I met them they were out traveling for a couple of months and their plans were to be out for around 7 months. They haven't quit yet. They have been traveling for 4 years now. They have been taking several diving certificates. Now they have their own diving school and resort in Cebu. Make sure to check that out. And we always meet in weird places. They went to my hostel, as I mentioned, and then we didn't see each other for a year or two. And then I was running a resort on Koh Tao, and I was just having some food on the street, and they were passing me, and I saw them looking at me. I looked at them, and I was like, what the fuck? This is not happening. The world is a small place. And now it happened again. That was my absolute highlight. Did this ever happen to you? Because once you travel, you realize the world is a small place.
It is. That's one of those things that I never realized until I did start traveling. I mean, I'm from a small town, and then I moved to a small city. So it's a small world, is what we say when we run into somebody from a 300-mile radius or something like that. But yeah, when you travel around Thailand, I run into people that I've met from Colombia that I've only met once. I run into them twice on different trips, So it's pretty crazy, yeah. Thailand is what I love about it. It's a melting pot of cultures. So you just see people from all over the place, and the travelers here tend to come back.
But that actually happened in Shanghai. But when we met,
that was Shanghai. Okay, yeah.
But it's still crazy.
Asia. Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's so cool.
It's still fucking crazy. I had the experience. I had it a few times where I met people I haven't seen for a while, but I think one of the craziest was when I met a former long-term relationship. We broke up, and then we didn't hear or see each other for a couple of years. And then I catched a flight from Copenhagen to London, and she was sitting exactly in front of me, one seat row in front of me. And I was like, what the fuck? And man, I just enjoy these moments. It's the small details in life that fascinating. That are fascinating.
It's always good to see somebody, especially when you're not expecting to see them.
That's true. That are always the best times. It's also the same thing when you get invited to a party or to an event in general and you don't want to go. That is most of the time the best sign to actually go, because you don't have any expectations. Exactly what I was talking about with me in Shanghai. I was expecting all the hustle and bustle and all this kind of stuff, and then I come there and kind of got disappointed. Not because it was clean, because that is a good thing, but for a photographer, of course, we like hustle and bustle. So I was a little bit surprised in a negative way when it comes to photos, because I was coming down to the point where I said, okay, I'm gonna walk and I'm gonna take pictures of architecture. That's like taking pictures of a wedding. How low can you go?
Shout out to all you wedding photographers.
Yeah, shout out to all you wedding photographers and product photographers. We love you.
Sellouts.
You say we play good cops, bad cops here. Are there any musicians that you completely disrespect? I'm thinking of K-pop or pop in general. Justin Bieber. Have you been following the news?
The news? No, that's one of those bands that I really can't stand.
Well, Justin Bieber canceled his tour. How could you miss that?
Oh, because he went Christian, didn't he? I think he went Christian. That's why him and Mayweather aren't friends anymore.
I don't know. The only reason why I heard about this is because of Mayweather. A lot of people were asking Mayweather who you're going to walk out with. And then, of course, the name Justin Bieber came up. And in China, once again, I saw a guy with a T-shirt, Justin Bieber, and you had all the concert dates. Some things are just everywhere, like McDonald's, Coca-Cola. Mitch Shilson said it best. You know that a country is civilized when it has a Starbucks.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, I have to admit, I kind of like Starbucks coffee, and I know
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
But you want to get sponsored, don't you?
No, not yet, but I hopefully make that happen in the future. So who knows? Maybe one day I go, this episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
Perfect, and I won't. So in that case, I won't say that Starbucks coffee tastes burnt.
Well,
I won't say that because I don't want to get you in trouble from your sponsors.
But you would still come on the podcast if we would. Of
course, I would.
Yeah, thank you. But
I would take a free cup of coffee because I'm an asshole like that.
And you'd like coffee, right?
I do. I love coffee.
Yeah. What before we shut this podcast slowly off, because we have been recording for a while here, for an hour and a half almost, and one of the things that are always the most difficult things to do is to actually end the podcast, because especially with people like you, we could keep on talking about all kinds of things, because
I love our conversations. They're just fun, and they go ADD from A to Z.
Yeah, and talking about K and coffee, which is spelled with a C, so I'm not referring that coffee is spelled with a K. I'm just having a word in front of me that says Kopi Luwak. And once again, I spoke about this on the podcast yesterday, but that was on another podcast. Are you familiar with Kopi Luwak coffee?
No, I'm not.
Are you not? Kopi Luwak coffee is one of the most expensive coffees in the world, selling for between 100 and 500 US per pound. And you know
That's
what?
why I've not heard of it.
Yeah, you know what's so special with this coffee?
I don't know. It seems like it's got to be brewed with leprechaun testicles or something to be that worthy.
Oh, you are so close. You have no idea. You are literally so close.
What? No, are you kidding me? Come on.
No, it's catch it.
No way.
There's
that's amazing.
a cat-like animal in Southeast Asia, and they eat coffee beans. And when they digest the coffee beans, it just puts a flavor into their shit. So, yeah, people actually make coffee out of their shit, and I'm gonna try. I have to send a message to Dukes because he promised me to bring some. It's very, very popular in the Philippines.
I will try it. I can't say that that's too bad because I've actually eaten Isan soup that's made with cow shit, and it's really good.
Yeah, most things that sound ugly are actually good.
Yeah. So it's just, you can't judge it until you try it, right?
Exactly. But yeah, for me, the most exciting question about this is who was the person who actually first thought of, I'm going to put this shit into my coffee. And not only enough with putting the shit into your coffee, I'm going to roast it a little bit and then make coffee out of it. How fucked up do you have to be? Or how stoned do you have to be? He was probably on drugs.
Yeah. Or had a shit fetish.
I mean, weird people have weird fetishes. That's true. That could happen as well.
It's true. I mean, I don't know. Everything comes from something, right? I mean, if you look at a lot of the food that we eat, it's one of those things that you just don't want to know what's in it. You just don't ask and eat it, you know?
Yeah,
so
like Starbucks coffee.
Yeah. Or have you ever heard of Rocky Mountain oysters?
No, what is that?
Rocky Mountain oysters are bull testicles, and that's a delicacy in America. Yeah, we'll eat bull testicles. I've never had one, but I probably would, I guess.
I once saw a documentary that there is a restaurant somewhere in China where they serve all kinds of different testicles from different animals because they believe it makes you more potential to actually get kids or produce kids.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know what to believe in these things. I know there's a lot of Chinese do a lot of stuff with that, where they'll, they have those 2Ks here, right?
Yeah.
And apparently the Chinese will use 2Ks for erectile dysfunction. They'll eat those.
Reptile dysfunction. Yeah. I'm thinking
that's funny. I said erectile, not reptile. That makes perfect sense because it's 2Ks. It's amazing.
I know. I just heard of it, and I immediately came thinking. I immediately came thinking of a snake in a wheelchair.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, it has, as always, been a pleasure. We basically went through all of it. We talked about TV shows, cat shit, and reptiles in wheelchairs and deadly silent scooters, man. As always,
Fantastic.
It was awesome to catch up with you, and there will be more of it in October when we both say fuck it to the world and go to a silent island somewhere located in Southeast Asia. We won't tell you where or what the name is. Maybe you meet us, maybe you don't. If you want to meet us or if you want to meet Anthony, where can we find
Send nudes.
Send nudes and dick pics, please. Where can we find Anthony on social media and Eratoka and Very Good English Company? Or would you just say, don't contact me, I don't want to talk to people?
Go ahead and contact me. You can just contact me, facebook.com, Anthony Floyd Brady, or you can go to facebook.com, Erotica Music.
All right. And as always, of course, we're going to put that in the description below. And with that being said, Anthony, as I just said so many times, I know I always repeat myself because I don't know how to finish a proper podcast. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time on short notice. As always, it's always short notice with you. But
that's always a pleasure. It's always short notice.
Man, it was a pleasure to talk to you. And I see you in a couple of days/weeks.
Sounds good, brother. I'll see you on the other side.
Anthony Floyd Brady, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Boom. And there he goes. We hanged up on him. It's always a pleasure to talk to a good friend, and especially a good friend that you can talk about everything with. As we said there, we talked basically about everything without a plan, and it was just enjoyable. People don't appreciate a good conversation as much as they should. So ask yourself, my dear audience, when was the last time you had a good conversation and actually said to your friend, let's sit down and let's have a conversation. Put your phone aside, turn it off, turn it on silent mode, and just do whatever you need to do in order to have a proper conversation. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Surrounded by Details podcast. My name is Stevo, and if you want to support this podcast, of course, please do me the favor and give us a like on either YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you are listening to us on iTunes and Podbean and SoundCloud and Stitcher. You can download all our episodes for free, but it is for free, so shut the fuck up, audio only, but we're only recording audio at the moment. So please don't complain, because nobody likes a whiny little, no, I'm not going to say bitch. Oh no, there I said it. However, subscribe and follow us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher and SoundCloud. Just look for Steve Bohn, Surrounded by Details podcast. And if you want me on social media, if you want to follow me on social media, sorry, I have to slow down. On Instagram, Twitter or Facebook, you have to look for Steve Bonhage, STEVBONHAGE. And if all that is too much, just make it easy for yourself and follow my website, www.stevbonhage, where you can find all the finest photography in MMA and travel photography and portrait, maybe in the world, maybe in the universe. Who knows? Only God can tell. I don't have any clue why I said this. However, follow us, leave us a comment, give us a dislike, let us know your opinion, because only if we get a proper opinion, we can evolve our podcast to what we and you want it to be. That sounded even more weird. I don't know why I keep on talking. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. You're all amazing. Be amazing to other people because you create your surroundings. I'm out.
You weren't there and I was broken hearted. Hung up the phone, can't be too late. The boss is so demanding. Open the door up and to my surprise that you were standing. Who needs to go to work to hustle for another dollar? I'd rather be with you cause you make my heart scream and holler.